Galen ran through the narrow streets of Sector 9, his boots clanging against the metal grates, heart hammering. A low, mechanical hum vibrated through the walls, patrol drones sweeping the area again. He wasn't supposed to be here, not after dark. The market was closing and the alleys were dangerous. Still, something had drawn him to this place. A faint, high-pitched whimper caught his ear. It was so quiet he almost thought he imagined it, but instinct told him it was real. Galen crouched behind a stack of cracked crates, listening. The sound came again, small, scared, desperate. His eyes adjusted to the dim neon light, and there it was, a tiny shape under a tattered coat, trembling violently. Two tiny glimmers of light flickered from beneath it, eyes, he realized, glowing faintly blue. He swallowed hard. He had seen plenty of strange things in his life, but this was different. The creature was barely bigger than his hand. Its wings were tiny, folded awkwardly, and a soft whine escaped its throat. Galen's chest tightened. The world could ignore it, but he couldn't. Not this time. A sudden shadow cut across the alley and Galen froze. A drone, larger than most, scanned the area with a harsh red beam. The little creature jerked, terrified. Its small body shivered so violently that part of the coat slipped, revealing a glimpse of scaly skin, delicate and iridescent. "No, not now," Galen muttered. He couldn't let it be caught. Acting on instinct, he dropped the pack of supplies he was carrying, creating a loud clang. The drone's beam swerved toward the noise, giving him a sliver of time. He leaned closer, whispering, "I've got you. Don't fight me." His fingers trembled as he carefully lifted the edge of the coat. The creature hissed softly but didn't bolt. Its eyes locked on his and Galen felt something stir, something intelligent, something aware. It wasn't just an animal. The drone's hum grew louder. Galen had seconds to act. He scooped the creature into his coat, feeling its tiny claws dig lightly into his jacket. He tucked it close to his chest, holding it as carefully as he could. Its twin, he realized in a sudden, shocking moment, was also under the same coat, hidden but alive. Two of them. Small, fragile, alone. The red light swept closer. Galen pressed himself against the wall, chest tight, every muscle ready. The twins stirred, wings brushing against him, and for a moment he felt panic rise. If the drone discovered them, they wouldn't stand a chance. But his mind was sharp, calculating every step. He had escaped worse situations. He could do this. A low rumble echoed from above and Galen looked up. The sky was crowded with floating cargo ships, their lights blinking in the distance, oblivious to the life and death struggle below. But closer, a massive shadow moved quickly, faster than anything normal. Something with wings, bigger than any human-made drone, skimmed above the rooftops. Galen's pulse spiked. The tiny creatures in his coat squirmed, sensing the danger. He whispered again, "Stay quiet. You'll be safe with me." Their tiny heads peeked from the coat's folds, eyes wide and shining. For a brief second, Galen felt an unexpected surge of hope. Maybe they could survive. Maybe he could protect them. He edged along the wall, moving toward a narrow side passage. Every step had to be precise. One wrong move, one careless sound, and both he and the twins would be exposed. The drone hummed closer, its sensors scanning the shadows. He held his breath, timing his movements with the faint flicker of neon above. Then, without warning, a small metallic container fell from a ledge, clanging loudly to the ground. The sound ricocheted through the alley, startling him and the twins. Galen's heart leapt. The drone paused, its beam swinging toward the noise. He had to act now. He dove into the passage, coat wrapped tight around the trembling creatures. The twins' small bodies pressed against him, and he felt a strange warmth, a fragile trust forming in the tight bundle he carried. Something about them whispered intelligence, curiosity, and vulnerability all at once. Behind him, the drone sensors whirred, searching, but the passage was tight, and Galen's knowledge of the alleys gave him an advantage. He moved faster, every step calculated, every breath controlled. His mind raced, thinking ahead. Where could he hide them? How could he keep them safe? Questions without immediate answers, but he didn't stop. A sudden flash of motion in the corner of his eye made him skid to a halt. Something huge moved along the rooftops, faster than anything he had ever seen. The twins pressed close, trembling. Galen's jaw tightened. Whatever was up there, it was connected to them, and it wasn't human. He ducked into a hidden doorway, sliding the heavy metal panel closed behind him. The twins wriggled, sensing safety for a moment. Galen pressed his forehead against the cold metal, heart hammering, mind spinning. He had found them, yes, but now the real danger was just beginning. From the shadows, a faint glow pulsed against the wall, the twins' eyes reflecting light back at him. They weren't just creatures in need. They were a puzzle, a challenge, and somehow, he felt, a chance to do something impossible. And then, above him, a sharp, low screech split the night air, a sound not made by any drone or human. Something alive. Something vast. Galen froze, clutching the twins tighter. The hunt was far from over, and the secret of these creatures was about to drag him into a danger unlike anything he had faced before. The screech echoed again, closer this time, and the twins hissed softly. Galen's stomach dropped. He realized the alley was no longer just a hiding place, it was a trap. Galen pressed himself against the cold brick wall, coat wrapped tight around the twins. Their tiny claws scratched lightly against his chest, and he felt their small, rapid heartbeats against his own. The alley smelled of rust and smoke, but that wasn't what made him tense. Above, the shadow he'd seen earlier moved with impossible speed, wings slicing through the night air. He had no idea what it was, only that it was fast, intelligent, and hungry. The twins stirred, whines rising into faint, musical chirps. Their tiny glowing eyes darted nervously, reflecting every flicker of neon light from the market streets above. Galen whispered, "Stay calm. We'll get through this," but the words barely touched the fear coiling in his own chest. He had faced danger before, but never like this, never with lives so fragile literally in his hands. He edged forward, keeping low, scanning for exits. The alleyway split ahead, one path leading toward the open market square, the other into a forgotten service corridor. Galen chose the corridor, hoping the shadows would hide him. His mind raced. If the drone caught sight of them, it could alert the larger creature. Worse, the creature above might sense them through some strange instinct or energy he didn't understand yet. A sudden flicker of movement made him freeze. A scrap of paper fluttered down the corridor like a tiny ghost. The twins tensed immediately, wings brushing against the inside of the coat. Galen pressed his hand over them, trying to calm them, feeling the warmth of their tiny bodies and realizing how delicate they were. Even a small mistake could end everything. The corridor was narrow and cluttered with old crates and discarded tech. Galen's boots clicked softly on the metal floor as he moved, every sound amplified in the silent night. The twins shifted, their glowing eyes reflecting the dim light like twin stars in the darkness. They seemed almost aware, almost able to communicate their fear. He murmured, we're okay," hoping they could understand him. Behind him, a low mechanical hum approached, the drone. Its sensors swept the corridor, red light bouncing across walls. Galen held his breath, counting steps, judging distances. The drone's shadow fell over a pile of crates, and one of the twins whimpered. Galen froze for a heartbeat, then whispered sharply, "Quiet. Now." Miraculously, they obeyed, settling silently against his chest again. He needed a plan. There was no way he could outrun both the drone and whatever was above, not without a diversion. His eyes scanned the corridor. A row of small canisters lay against the wall, coated in dust. Carefully, he nudged one with his foot, sending it rolling down the corridor. It hit a pipe with a loud clang. The drone's sensors veered toward the noise. "Go!" he hissed, sprinting down a narrow side passage. The twins squirmed slightly but stayed in his coat, trusting him, or perhaps sensing his determination. Galen's lungs burned, but he couldn't stop. He had to put distance between them and the danger, or none of them would survive. Suddenly, a faint pulse of light flashed across the corridor floor. One of the twins responded instinctively, their tiny body shifted, wings fluttering slightly, and the pulse stuttered. Galen blinked. He hadn't moved anything. The twins were doing it. Their glow, their small energy, it seemed to interact with the environment. He had no time to analyze, but the discovery both terrified and fascinated him. These creatures weren't helpless. They had abilities he couldn't yet understand. The corridor opened into an abandoned storage hangar. Dust motes danced in the air and broken machinery lined the walls. Galen slowed, listening. The hum of the drone had faded. The hangar offered hiding spots, and he quickly tucked the twins into a small recessed compartment beneath a stack of crates. Their glowing eyes peeked out, small lights in the darkness, curious and wary. Galen exhaled slowly, scanning the hangar. His heart still pounded, but the immediate threat was gone. For now. He knelt beside the twins, whispering, "You're safe for a moment. Just a moment." One twin nudged his finger with its tiny snout, its scales warm and surprisingly soft. A small, accidental connection, he realized they were responding to touch, to empathy. Then a sudden rumble echoed through the hangar. Galen stiffened. Something heavy shifted outside, metal clanging, wings brushing against the roof. The twins hissed, pressing closer to him. He knew that sound. That creature, the one above, was still out there. And it wasn't alone. Galen rose slowly, keeping the twins pressed to his chest. The hangar doors were rusted but might still open if he forced them. He tested the edge. It budged slightly. He could make an escape if he timed it right. But timing would be everything. One misstep, one loud sound, and the predator outside could strike. He glanced at the twins. Their glowing eyes met his, almost pleading. Galen swallowed the lump in his throat. He had taken decisive action to save them, but he realized this was only the beginning. These creatures were fragile, yes, but more importantly they were part of something larger. Something dangerous. Something worth protecting no matter the cost. A sudden flash of motion from the roof made Galen duck instinctively. The wings passed over the doorway, fast, immense and terrifying. The twins stirred, tiny bodies pressing against him as if they understood the gravity of the moment. Galen's mind raced. He had to move to protect them to survive. But the hangar offered limited options. He took a deep breath, gripping the coat tightly and stepped toward the door, ready to push it open. His fingers brushed the metal, hearing the faint groan of rust and stress. Outside, the predator's screech split the air, sharp and close, echoing like a warning. Galen froze, the twins squirming in his coat. The hangar suddenly felt impossibly small, a cage with danger closing from every angle. He could see the faint glow of their eyes reflecting the doorway, showing both fear and trust. And then, with a surge of determination, he knew he had to act, before it was too late. The screech came again, louder, closer, and the hangar walls seemed to vibrate with the intensity. Galen's chest tightened. There was no turning back now. Galen pressed the coat closer to his chest, feeling the twins' tiny hearts racing as the hangar doors groaned under the weight of the unknown predator above. The air smelled of dust and ozone, but his focus was entirely on the creatures he had saved. They weren't just animals, he was beginning to sense it. There was intelligence behind their glowing eyes, something that responded to his presence, his voice, even his heartbeat. He inched toward a corner of the hangar, keeping low, scanning for escape routes. The predator's screech had faded, replaced by a faint metallic hum that echoed across the empty space. Galen's mind raced. He didn't know what these creatures were, but he knew two things. They were vulnerable and valuable, and something out there wanted them badly. His instincts screamed that hesitation could be fatal. Suddenly, one of the twins stirred more violently than before. Its glow pulsed brighter, illuminating the shadows around them with a soft, blue light. Galen froze, trying to understand what was happening. The tiny creature pressed its head against his chest, almost deliberately, and the second twin's glow flickered in response. The lights danced in rhythm with Galen's own heartbeat. "Okay," he whispered, more to himself than the twins. "There's something here. Something connected." He hadn't realized until that moment that their reaction wasn't random. It was a response, a communication, perhaps even a form of telepathy. A sudden clatter echoed from the far end of the hangar. Galen spun toward it, coat pressed tight, twins wriggling in alarm. A crate toppled over, revealing a hidden passageway beneath the storage platform. Galen's eyes widened. He hadn't noticed it before, and yet, it seemed like it had been waiting. The twins' glowing eyes flickered toward it, curious but cautious. He edged closer, peering into the darkness. A faint blue shimmer reflected from the walls inside the passage. His pulse quickened. Was it safe? Could it be another hiding place, or a trap? The predator outside could still strike, and the drones might return at any moment. But hesitation meant nothing. He had to act. Gently, he lowered the twins toward the ground, still holding the edges of the coat. One twin blinked up at him, wings twitching nervously. The other nudged its sibling, and Galen saw, to his astonishment, the tiny creature rise a few inches off the ground. Its glow intensified, and the light bounced off the walls. "What? How?" Galen muttered. The twin hovered, tiny claws paddling the air like wings, but the movement wasn't just mechanical, it was deliberate. It was aware, responding to him. He realized with a shock that the twins weren't just intelligent, they could manipulate their environment. Even in small ways they had power. Before he could process further, a sudden hiss cut through the air. The second twin darted behind a crate instinctively, glow flickering in fear. Galen's eyes followed the sound. From the shadows emerged a small, mechanical drone, probably a scout left behind by the larger predator outside. It hovered silently, scanning, unaware of the twins' presence. Galen's mind raced. He couldn't fight it directly, he was outmatched. But he could use the twins' abilities. Whispering, he coaxed the hovering twin, "Push it toward the wall. Just a little." The creature responded immediately. The tiny dragon's glow surged, and a pulse of energy rippled toward the drone. Sparks flew from the drone's sensors, short-circuiting it instantly. It clattered to the floor, powerless. Galen's mouth fell open. The twins had just saved him. He felt a rush of pride, relief, and awe all at once. They weren't helpless. They were small, yes, but formidable in ways he couldn't yet understand. He crouched, speaking softly to them, "You're incredible, and we need each other." A faint scraping sound from above snapped his attention back to reality. The predator hadn't gone far. Its wings brushed against the hangar ceiling again, echoing through the space like rolling thunder. The twins flinched, pressing against him. Galen realized the immediate danger was far from over. He glanced at the hidden passageway, considering his next move. The twins responded to his thoughts and movements as if they understood. He lowered himself to the floor, creeping toward the opening. One twin hovered beside him, the other clinging tightly. Galen felt a strange connection forming, not just their telepathic response but trust, emotion, recognition. They were linking with him in a way that transcended normal understanding. Suddenly the floor beneath them shifted slightly. A hidden panel, triggered perhaps by the twins' light or weight, slid open, revealing a narrow crawlspace. Galen hesitated for only a second. He had no choice. He scooped up the twins carefully, tucking them close, and began to crawl through the tight space. The twins squirmed, wings brushing against him, but didn't cry out. As he moved, the glowing eyes of the twins illuminated faint, intricate markings on the walls of the crawlspace. They were like runes, symbols of a language Galen didn't recognize. He paused, brushing his fingers across them. The light from the twins pulsed stronger, as if responding to the human touch. Galen's heart raced. Were these markings a warning? A guide? Or a map to something far larger than he could imagine? A sudden rumble shook the crawlspace. The predator above had noticed the disruption. Galen's stomach tightened, adrenaline spiking. He pressed the twins closer, whispering, "Almost there, almost safe." Then in the darkness, one twin emitted a high-pitched trill, a sound Galen hadn't heard before. The other answered in perfect harmony. The sound seemed to resonate with the walls themselves. He felt vibrations run through his hands, through the floor. Something ancient, something powerful, responded. Galen's mind spun. The twins were not just lost creatures. They were connected to this place, to forces beyond his understanding. And yet they had chosen him. They had trusted him. As he pressed forward, the crawlspace narrowed and a faint light glimmered ahead. It was not neon, not artificial. It was natural, warm, beckoning. Galen realized, with a mixture of awe and dread, that whatever lay ahead could hold the answers to the twins' origin, and perhaps the key to surviving the predator still hunting them. A sudden scraping above reminded him that time was running out. He tightened his grip, whispering to the twins, "Stay close. We're in this together." The light ahead pulsed again and the twins' glow flared in response. It was as if the creatures were signaling him, showing him the way. But at that moment, a shadow passed across the opening above. The predator had found the crawlspace entrance. Galen froze. His chest pounded. The twins pressed against him, tiny bodies trembling but glowing brighter than ever. He realized the next moment could decide everything, their survival and perhaps something far bigger than he understood. Galen pressed himself against the cold walls of the crawlspace, clutching the twins to his chest. Their glowing eyes lit the narrow tunnel, pulsating in rhythm with his own heartbeat. Every step was a careful calculation. The passage was tight, uneven, and fraught with unknown dangers. Above, the predator's wings scraped the ceiling, shaking dust onto his shoulders, announcing its relentless pursuit. He swallowed hard, forcing calm into his racing thoughts. The twins were small, fragile, but astonishingly capable. Their glow responded to his emotions: fear, urgency, determination. He had seen it before and now he relied on it. Every pulse of their light was both a warning and a tool. He whispered, "Stay with me. We're almost out." A sudden screech split the air, closer this time. The predator had found the entrance. Galen froze. His mind scanned the crawlspace, counting steps, measuring distances, calculating his next move. There was no room for error. One misstep, one sudden sound, and the predator could strike before they reached safety. The twins stirred, pressing themselves tighter against him. Galen realized something extraordinary: they weren't panicking. Their little wings quivered, but their glow surged in intensity, almost as if they were preparing to act. The first twin's small body lifted slightly off his chest, hovering, the faint energy ripple brushing the walls. He had no idea what it could do, only that it was deliberate. Then a second ripple followed, the other twin joining in. The two pulses merged, creating a faint shockwave that pushed loose stones and dust down the crawlspace. Galen's eyes widened. The twins were more than creatures. They were a force. He hadn't imagined the earlier pulses. This was real. From above, the predator shrieked again. Galen's stomach dropped as he realized the creature was sensing them, reacting to their movement, their glow. He had seconds, maybe less. He ducked lower, squeezing into a narrower section. The twins pressed tighter, wings brushing his neck, claws barely puncturing the coat, but it didn't matter. He needed their power now more than ever. A sudden crack echoed as a large stone dislodged from the ceiling. Galen lunged forward instinctively, covering the twins with his body. Dust rained down, and for a moment the crawlspace narrowed into darkness. When he opened his eyes, a dim light shimmered ahead. Safety, or something like it, waited there. He had to make it. Go, he whispered urgently. We can do this. The twins responded instinctively. Their glow pulsed, brighter, stronger, forming a faint shield around them. The energy brushed against the walls, pushing debris aside and illuminating the path ahead. Galen took a deep breath and crawled forward, muscles straining, heart pounding, each movement calculated and deliberate. The predator's screech echoed again, closer, angrier. It had discovered their trail. Galen knew it would strike through the opening, its massive claws and jaws seeking the source of the light. He pressed himself lower, holding the twins closer, feeling their warmth, their trust. It gave him courage. He would not let them die, not on his watch. The crawlspace opened into a larger chamber, faintly lit by natural phosphorescent crystals embedded in the walls. The twins' glow merged with the crystals, casting shifting shadows that seemed to confuse the predator above. Galen realized this might be his only chance. He whispered, "Stay close. Follow my lead." As he moved deeper into the chamber, he noticed faint grooves in the stone floor, ancient, deliberate, almost like a pattern. The twins reacted immediately. Their glow flared along the lines, illuminating them as if guiding Galen forward. He had no idea what the grooves meant, but following them was safer than improvising. Suddenly, from above the chamber, a shadow lunged. The predator had forced its way inside, wings beating furiously, claws scraping the stone. Galen's pulse surged. He ducked behind a low ridge, pressing the twins against his chest. They chirped in alarm, wings brushing him, but the glow surged brighter than before. Instinctively, he realized they were trying to protect him. One twin lifted off slightly, energy rippling through the chamber. The other mirrored it. A faint shockwave of light shot toward the predator, forcing it back a few feet. The creature screeched, retreating slightly but circling, testing their defenses. Galen's mind raced. He had seconds to act. He noticed a narrow exit at the far end of the chamber, partially hidden behind a crystal formation. If he could reach it, they might escape. He whispered again, "Trust me. Now." The twins responded immediately. Their glow flared and pulsed, reacting to his determination. He bolted, sprinting across the chamber with them pressed to his chest. The predator lunged, claws striking the floor inches behind him. The twins' energy pulsed again, creating a small shockwave that disrupted the predator's landing, throwing it slightly off balance. Galen leaped, feeling the floor give way under him as he slid through the narrow exit. The twins tumbled slightly, but he caught them just in time. He hit the ground on the other side, panting, heart racing but alive. The predator screeched behind him, unable to follow through the narrow passage. He collapsed against the wall, breathing hard, holding the twins close. Their glow softened, reflecting relief and trust. Galen smiled faintly, realizing something profound. These tiny creatures weren't just helpless. They had power, yes, but they had chosen him. Together they had survived an impossible threat. But as he looked toward the passage they had just left, Galen's stomach tightened. The predator hadn't given up. It would come again. And this time it might bring more. The twins stirred, wings brushing his face, small bodies glowing faintly. Galen hugged them tighter. "We're not done yet," he whispered. "Not by a long shot." A faint shimmer of light moved across the walls ahead. Something else was waiting, something ancient, hidden, and connected to the twins. Galen's chest tightened. He realized the battle was over for now, but a larger mystery awaited, one that would test him and the twins, like never before. Galen crouched in the hidden chamber, sweat dripping from his brow, the twins pressed to his chest. Their glow had softened, gentle pulses now instead of the frantic flashes from before. The predator outside had retreated for now, but the distant echo of its wings reminded him that this was temporary. Every instinct screamed vigilance, Yet relief mingled with awe. He had survived against impossible odds, but more importantly, he had protected these fragile, extraordinary creatures. He carefully set the twins on the crystal-studded floor. They chirped softly, tiny wings brushing the walls, illuminating the intricate patterns in faint, shifting light. Galen's eyes traced them, realizing for the first time that the symbols weren't random. They formed a map, a language, perhaps even a guide to something larger. The twins' glow pulsed along the lines, reacting to the markings as if recognizing a home he could not yet see. Galen knelt, brushing his fingers over one twin's head. "You've survived because of courage. Not just yours, mine, or theirs, but all of us, together," he whispered. The twin chirped back, nuzzling him, wings flicking against his forearm. The connection he felt was undeniable. It went beyond empathy, it was trust, recognition, and understanding. In that moment, Galen knew he had a responsibility far greater than just survival. He stood slowly, scanning the chamber. The exit he had come through was narrow, treacherous, and clearly designed to deter intruders. But beyond the crystals, light shimmered, warmer and more inviting than anything he had seen in the alley or the crawlspace. He stepped forward cautiously, holding the twins close. Their light merged with the crystals, illuminating the path ahead. As he moved, the twins' tiny bodies began to hover, small wings fluttering with intent. A subtle pulse of energy radiated from them, interacting with the crystal walls. Galen realized the twins weren't just guiding him, they were opening the way. It was as if they had known the path all along, waiting for him to trust them to act decisively. The chamber widened, revealing a pool of glowing water. The light reflected across the walls, creating a mesmerizing pattern of movement. The twins chirped in delight, tiny claws touching the surface, sending ripples across the glowing liquid. Galen watched, awestruck. He had never seen anything like this. It wasn't just survival anymore, it was discovery. He knelt by the pool, dipping a hand into the warm glow, feeling energy ripple through him as if the place itself acknowledged the twins' presence. A sudden vibration shook the chamber. Galen froze, holding the twins tighter. From the shadows emerged faint shapes, smaller drones, remnants of the Predator's scouts, circling cautiously. The twins flared their glow, pulsing with a strength that sent the drones retreating into the darkness. Galen's heart swelled with pride. They had faced danger not just as victims, but as beings with the power to protect themselves and him. Galen stood and looked at the twins. "We've come this far. But there's more waiting for us," he said, voice steady despite the tension. One twin hovered beside him, the other perched on his shoulder, their glow pulsing in sync. They seemed to understand every word, every intention. He felt the bond growing stronger, tangible in a way that words could barely capture. He began exploring the chamber systematically, tracing the crystalline patterns along the walls. The twins followed, hovering lightly, glowing steadily, almost as if they were pointing out the safest path. Each step revealed more of the ancient markings, strange symbols that hinted at a civilization long lost, one that had understood energy, life, and perhaps even the twins themselves. Galen realized that the twins were more than creatures. They were living keys to a secret older than anything he had imagined. Then, from the far side of the chamber, a faint hum rose, different from the Predator's mechanical drone. The twins' glow pulsed rapidly, wings fluttering with urgency. Galen approached cautiously, sensing both danger and discovery. Behind a crystal formation lay a narrow passage, faint light spilling from within. The twins pressed toward it, chirping insistently, guiding him forward. He stepped into the passage, the twins floating just ahead. The walls hummed softly in response to their light, resonating in a rhythm that made his chest tighten with anticipation. Galen's mind raced. What lay beyond this glowing corridor? A sanctuary? A trap? He had no answers, only certainty that the twins were showing him something important, something worth risking everything for. At the end of the passage, the light opened into a vast chamber. Crystals stretched to the ceiling, the air humming with energy. The twins hovered in the center, glowing brilliantly, wings spread. Galen approached slowly, awestruck. The chamber seemed alive, responding to their presence, pulsing in harmony with their energy. He knelt beside the twins, feeling a warmth he hadn't expected. "You've changed my life," he whispered. "And I'll do everything to protect you." The twins chirped softly, pressing closer as if acknowledging his vow. For the first time, Galen felt a deep, unshakable connection, not just to them but to something larger, something extraordinary that he was now a part of. Above, a shadow passed, but Galen didn't flinch. The predator was still out there, yes, but for now he had the twins, he had courage, and he had the knowledge that humans could shine even against impossible odds. He smiled faintly, lifting the twins gently, holding them close. Together they had survived, discovered, and forged a bond stronger than fear. A soft pulse of energy radiated from the chamber, and the twins' glow intensified, almost as if calling out to something, or someone beyond the walls. Galen realized the adventure was far from over. The predator had been only the beginning. Something greater awaited, something that would test him, the twins, and the bond they had forged. He whispered softly, "We're ready, whatever comes next." The twins chirped in agreement, wings flicking lightly. Galen felt hope surge through him, fierce and unyielding. Humans could survive, humans could protect, and humans could rise to meet the extraordinary. From the far side of the chamber, a faint shimmer moved, unrecognizable but alive. The twins' glow pulsed rapidly, almost urgently, as if urging him to follow. Galen's eyes narrowed, heart racing. Whatever was waiting ahead promised answers, danger, and a new beginning. The predator might return, the unknown might strike, but for now they were together, unbroken and ready.